How do we fill an illustration with a gradient? Now, in the previous sessions, we've done how to fill it with solid color, but now we want to get a bit more interesting and use gradients. So the two windows we're going to need are swatches and gradient. Let's start with the swatches. So go to Window and Swatches. That makes sure we've got them pulled up. At the moment, the colors we've got there are pretty boring, so I'm going to open something a bit more interesting. In the swatches library, we go to Art History, and I'm going to choose Middle Ages. Now, this isn't actually that important. I just like this scheme, which is called Islamic. So I'm going to close that down, and it's now added to our palette. Let's go for the next one, which is gradients. Now, this is where it starts getting interesting. So open up the gradient, and right now what you can see is something quite familiar if you've done things in Photoshop. So first thing, we need to choose our type of gradient. So I'm going to choose linear, which is just going from one colour to the other. We could choose radial, which is one colour in the centre, changed to one on the outside. But I'm going to go with linear. So we have these 2 points here. I'm going to double click on the white one, and it pulls up our swatches panel. So I'm going to keep this light, but I'm going to choose a light blue rather than white, and this dark one I'm going to choose dark. Now I want to have this as being mainly a light colour rather than a dark one, so I'm going to go for moving the centre point, more towards the dark side, so that the middle point of where the gradient starts switching over is more biased. So we get a little more blue. Actually, I want the top of this to be definitely blue, the bottom of it to be definitely dark blue. So I'm going to move these pointers just in a bit. So we're changing the style and feel. So I've now created a gradient. If you look here in the fill section on the left, our little swatch there has changed. So how do we get this into our main swatches menu? Just click, left click, and we're holding the left mouse button down, drag it across the screen into our swatches panel and release. So it's now there. We can use this many times. We can even save it into a swatch scheme as we have in a previous video. So let's start applying this. So let's take the direct selection tool and let's choose the main body of our garment. Then click on swatch. Now what you see here is the angle is 0 because it just defaults to 0. So I'm going to take here and just take it to -90, and you can see how it has now changed, how it's now gone from being one side to the other. I can take this to 45 degrees. I can take it to reverse 90, so it gets dark at the top, light at the bottom, but I don't want that. I want it to be dark at the bottom. So now let's play around with some other colours. I'm going to go for the bottom area here. I'm going to keep that with the swatch, make sure the angle is set right, which is not that one, it's the reverse. And the top here, I'm going to keep that a split colour, I quite like that. So, yeah, and then we've got various pieces here. I'm going to keep that white for now. So anyway, that is how to create a gradient swatch and apply it to your illustrations.